Top of the morning to you traders. Chris Buss here with Traders Profit Compass with your morning look at markets for Monday, April 5th. Okay, coming out of a nice 3-day weekend, Easter holiday. I hope you all had a nice break and found some time to get outside the charts and refresh your batteries, get together with friends and family for the holiday. I hope that all worked out for you. So let's jump into the charts here. It's about 10 to 7 as I'm starting the video. Quick look at futures. ES futures up about 0.5%. Same for NASDAQ. Small caps are up 1.6%, which is nice. Oil down about 2%. Copper up about 2.6%, with gold flat. I want to do a quick recap of where we ended up last week. Wednesday was quarter end. Of course, then you always are thinking about quarter end markups and stuff like that. We also had a big pension rebalancing. And here was the price action on Wednesday. You know, we had a strong open, came up, and then on that rebalance, that last couple of hours, they pulled it back. And then on Thursday, the day before the 3-day weekend, we were talking about there was a big call wall at SPY 400. What's a call wall? Where when you look at the distribution of option strikes, there was a large spike or a high spot in the profile at 400, and that creates what's called a call wall, because the forces that be don't want all those guys to get paid. So there's a lot of forces at work that would want to keep price below 400, so those guys don't get paid. There's also put walls as well. And so when you get that dynamic of having a call wall at a certain location and a put wall at a certain location, the market forces want to keep price, within that range. So the most people out there lose, to be frank. But Friday, we didn't see that. We saw price power on through that call wall. And once above it, we're in blue sky territory now. We're at all-time highs, above 400, and now we're making progress pre-market, above 400 into that blue sky territory, where no matter when you ever bought in the history of SPY, you should be positive, right? No matter when you bought, whether it was on Wednesday of last week or 2 years ago, you are now positive. So there's no natural sellers. And I want to remind you, now that we're into April, we had strong risk appetite into the 3-day holiday, right? No kind of pullback, which is what I was anticipating. Once that quarter markup and rebalance happened, and ahead of the 3-day weekend, I was kind of thinking like, okay, what's risk appetite going to look like? Do we go balls to the wall, or do we, kind of hesitate, let the 3-day weekend clear and pick it up next week? So that obviously didn't happen. Bullish sentiment into the weekend. So here we are, first week of April. Some bullish factors at work. Number one, new highs are bullish. They're not bearish. So make sure you're looking for long entries, not trying to short the top repeatedly. That's been a losing trade for quite a while. We are just about to head into the next earnings cycle, and I haven't looked at the calendar yet, but the big banks are usually first up, and we'll start getting those reporting. But the lead in to earnings season is usually bullish. We also have bullish seasonality. 15 of the last 16 Aprils, So going back 16 years, 15 of those years, April has been a bullish month, closing higher at the end than in the beginning. So those are some bullish factors at work. Of course, those aren't guaranteed to be true, right? But we do have some seasonal bias and factors working in the bulls' favor. So let's get into the charts. SPY 2-hour chart. We had a prior high here that was resistance on Wednesday. We broke above that, took out the call wall at 400, and now we're at new highs. And with price being up about 0.5% pre-market, we're going to be up in this 402 range, something like that. I think now is a perfect time, if you had gotten long anywhere in here and still have your position, a chance to roll up at least to 397, if not 400. I think 400 is going to be a new psychological level for us. I wouldn't be surprised if we come back and, back test that a little bit, validate that 400, build a little support shelf there, and then if the stars align, this will be a new level where you can, move up your stops and your strikes, and we can look for more down the road. Here is the gap up on Thursday, and I've dropped in a trend line off of not the exact low, but right here is a better fit. And so we can stay long against this trend line on a 30-minute chart. And I've dropped in a little support area here at around 399.50 that I think you can stay long against that on short time frames and the trend line. And don't forget, this morning, gap up will leave a gap below that needs to be filled, right? Never forget that. Don't get caught up in a flash gap fill by buying the open. Just kind of watch it, see if they want to come back, test Thursday's close, and then off to the races, or even pull back to 400 or 399.50, whatever they may want to do. I think a bearish development would be to immediately lose this trend line and come back in here and fill that gap. So be aware of both sides of the coin. Qs. Big gap on Friday. Here it's about $4 wide. We had this long-standing resistance level at 324. You can see here resistance, 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 resistance. And we emerged above it on Thursday, and now in the pre-market we're up in the 326 range. You can see here that we have a an upper gap that was never filled from back in February. We spent all this time below, but now coming up to this gap up towards 327.75 ish. If you get a gap entry here, I think you can be long looking for the gap fill. But if there's a rejection here, that's your objective short. Maybe we come back down and fill the opening gap, come back into 324 and have that hold, then bounce. I think 324 on the Qs is going to be really, really important. Why? Just because of what I said. We've had all these rejections at 324. Now we've emerged above. If there is a pullback, you want 324 to hold. You really don't want to see price come back in to that prior trading range and fill this gap. Remember, once you're out of a trading range, you don't want to go back in. That's a bearish technical move. So if you were to, or we, price, were to lose 324, I think that's your objective short for a possible gap fill of this gap right here. Here it is blown up. On Thursday, once we gapped up, we just hovered all day right in this area, and we could easily, turn this into a bull flag. If I were to box this in, call that the flagpole, and then extend the flagpole up, pushing into that 327 area where that upper gap is, you could easily draw it that way. But the RSI profile is strong, and the PPO is above zero and strong. So seems to be some life coming back into the Qs. IWM, strong day on Thursday, up 1.27%. We've got a little gap here. We got price up 1.6% here. I've just penciled in where I think we're going to open. We're still 2.5 hours before the bell, so who knows where they might put it by then. But let's just say we open up here at this 227 area, and so we'll have a sizable gap below, and then we've got a gap above here up into between 230 and right here at 227.75-ish, coming off of here. Here was the gap down, and then here was your line. I will fill that in. Here I just have it on the 30-minute expanded view. If we open, around here, there'll be a big gap below. Be aware that, of a gap fill lower on the open. And then looking above, there's a significant line here at 232, which would be the next technical target above 228. So either way, that's going to be a nice level, either for a tactical short to come back, or a long looking for a move back up towards 232. Notice this large volume over price bar, so that'll tell you that's an important level, either above or below. Above, that becomes support. Below, it becomes resistance. Okay, before we get into the FATMAAN names, the Facebooks, Apples, Googles of the world, if you're still with me and you like the commentary, please sign up, hit that subscribe button and alarm bell. You won't miss any of my content. And then jump over in the show notes where you can visit the blog site and also register for all my content, where you'll get, no matter when I send something out, whether it's at midnight, noon, 3, whatever, with ideas or observations on the market, you'll get a nice, neat email in your email box, and you won't miss a beat. For those of you that have been longtime subscribers, I really appreciate your time. I hope you're benefiting from the work. Please hit the like button and pass the link along to somebody in your trading network that you think might benefit from the work, so we can expand our audience and get the word out. Hopefully help more people in their trading by giving them levels that they can really trust. So let's move on to FATMAAN quickly. Facebook didn't really like this candle on Thursday. We reached up to resistance. You can see that here, and then spent the rest of the day pulling back. I looked pre-market. It didn't seem to be doing much. What the bulls really want to see is this 293 hold, and then this 304 level taken out and then off to new highs for Facebook. Apple, not nearly as bullish as some of the other names. We remain, kind of trapped down here. 123 again remains the pivot. It has not shown the ability yet to take it out. There was a fake breakout here, a little bit of a try here, got rejected, broke above on Thursday, but then they faded it. So 123 is an important level. If it can get above, you can look for a gap fill up to 125. If 125 is taken out, that'll also be a technical buy with a look towards 127. And really, I think that's going to be a super important level going forward. If it can take out 127, then it opens up a whole nother regime above, up towards 130. Got this gap fill or gap opportunity between 132, 133, and then 134 above. So Apple's just, kind of oscillating. And if it can get going, that's really going to help the broader averages, both in, the Dow, SPY, and the Qs. Tesla. Junk price action on Thursday. Gapped higher, and they faded it the whole day. But now here this morning, price has gapped up towards resistance right here at this 707, 710 area. So it's up $35 at least here in the pre-market. That'll leave a huge gap below, maybe too tempting for traders not to fade it, to come back in here to 670 where that big pivot is. But if it can break above, then you can look towards 725 and 750 on Tesla. Microsoft, Wednesday, got the big news about that $22 billion defense contract for super goggles. Then on Friday, they took that close and gapped it up to 238. Big impulsive bar and finishing on the highs of the day. I have not looked where we're at pre-market, but if it can take out 244, then we're on to blue sky country on Microsoft as well. And I think it can go up to 250 on this move. If it can take out this resistance, you could make a case that this whole thing was a bull flag. But even if we take a conservative view, that you got a flagpole here, a consolidation, and then extension of the flagpole, which is $6, 6 on to 241 is 247. But I think up here in blue sky country that it would extend. I don't think it would just stop, right here and at 247. So I think 247 would be approximately your measured move target, but I think it could find 250 pretty easily once it broke through. Amazon had a good day. You can see that there's a little gap here that I have not put in yet, but 3100 was our pivot, gapped higher, then got up to 3150. So 3150 today is your pivot with a target of 3200, and then 3250 with a little baby gap to fill from way back when, right up here. So continue to do the free 50 club. $50 increments have worked really, really well with Amazon. And this may be, the moment if mega cap tech gets rolling, that Amazon and some of the other names start to lead again. because if it can take out this big congestion area, you can see 3150 has capped a lot of the action for the past 6 weeks. Rejection here, 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 and now an emerging breakout. So if price can get above 3150 and hold it and get up into this 3200 plus area, I think we can get up in here to the 3300s, the 3350s, and then Amazon will have some real momentum behind it. Google, big breakout. We had the consolidation. We had a move above with a consolidation, then a big gap up on earnings, and then a long consolidation here of several months. And now on Thursday, gap up and closing on the highs. So remember, this is the daily chart. So now above 2100, that's your new daily pivot. As long as it holds 2100, you're good to go. And that, the last little bastion of resistance is right here at 2150. See this tail that came up in there. But I think it can power above that. And we had a technical target of 2200 from way back when. And that came from this trading range from 2000 to 2100. The width of the box is your measured move. So 100 onto 2100 gives you 2200. But once it gets into blue sky, I think it's going higher. And what I really like about this chart is look at the long PPO reset. Here's the surge. PPO bleeded out, but no effect on price. So now it's come back to the zero line and put in a bull cross. That is a powerful technical signal to get that reset at the zero line, and that should give it renewed energy to push higher. And notice also RSI never lost 50. Even in this long consolidation, never lost 50. So now, to me, that says the resting period is over. Energy has been rebuilt, and we're poised for the next leg higher. What would change my view? Our close is back below 2100. That would be bearish. You want to see this thing either consolidate above 2100 or possibly have another green day, come back for a back test of 2100. That would be your second bite at the apple, and then go. So this is a really strong setup, and I think we're close enough to 2100. If you wanted to take a longer duration swing trade on Google, I think that's a nice setup, a nice trade, and just set your stop a little bit below 2100. Netflix, powerful move off the floor. Now I've got I looked pre-market with Netflix trading up around 552, so that's looking like a $12 gap higher. Of course, that'll leave the gap below. That leaves it vulnerable to a pullback here in the morning. But if you got that move, even if you didn't get short here, if you got that move back into 242.50, 542.50 or 540, I would be a buyer there. This thing is working its way higher. Let it have this technical move to fill the gap. You've got support here. You've got, although not overly large, you've got a volume over support bar here. I think that'll hold on a pullback. And if it doesn't, you've got to stop just below. But I think you get long on any kind of move back to 542.50, 540 in that area. And if it just, this morning, if it looks like it's going to go, gap and go, get long against 550, right here. And then see if you can get a push up to 565, which is the next overhead technical target. Okay, let's wrap it up here with a few sector ideas. A number of us were in a late week trade in SMH where we had bought on this break above 240. This is the daily chart. We were working off the 60-minute chart last week, but I want to show you the technical picture here. So we bought above 242. Then we got a gap up and a nice day on Thursday to finish near the highs around 253. We got the prior high at 259.50-ish. If things get bullish and we either take out this high, new highs you got to buy, right? Remember that, new highs you got to buy. Or we get a backfill, come back, fill this gap, back test 242.50. I think you got to buy it there, right? Or come back to 250 where the gap holds. I think you can be a buyer there as well. So semiconductors are a good one to watch just for simply risk appetite. And with this gap higher and closing on the highs on Friday, I think it has some tailwinds. So I would watch SMH carefully. If you rolled your positions on Thursday and continue to stay long, I like that trade. Stay long, trail your stop up, depending on what your expiration is and all that kind of good stuff. But I like semis higher here. Steel remains strong. We just had a breakout here above 54.50. You can see the volume over price bars extending. So I think steel has room to move higher. I think you can stay long against 54.50 and look for higher prices. Home builders remain strong. Just had a breakout here above 67, working up in this wedge. Probably hard to buy it here, but any kind of pullback into 67 on some weakness, I think you can buy it here on a pullback into the 8 EMA here in pink and into this trend line. I think you can use as a reference guide on any kind of pullback. Home builders remain strong. And wanted to give you some other leading sectors to take a look at. I'm going to do some additional work on this and send it out at a later time. But materials is remaining strong. We had a breakout here above 78.50 and consolidating right above that area. I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see a breakout and then a consolidation above support, and now with the opportunity to go. And with copper being up 2.6%, looking for a good day in materials. And, speaking of copper, Freeport, FCX, Southern Copper, SCCO, I think you want to be buying any dips on that. I think copper and the base metals are going higher. And just, I don't have the charts here to show you, but other leading sectors are the industrials, the staples, transports, and IHF are all looking strong. What I'll do is continue my work on the both the leading sectors and the emerging sectors, so you can focus your attention on the sectors that are working. But looks like a risk on day. Be careful of the flash gap fills lower, that technical move. Don't get trapped at the open on that. Give it a few minutes, see what they want to do, and then, set your direction. Just as a quick recap, we've got a lot of bullish catalysts in front of us. Blue skies, new highs you got to buy. We've got the earnings calendar in the bulls' favor because the run-up into earnings are usually bullish. And we've also got strong seasonality. 15 of the last 16 Aprils have been bullish. And also strong risk sentiment into a 3-day weekend on Thursday tells me people want to stay long and they're not hesitating and pulling back. So things look good at this point. Of course, keep your head on a swivel. Things can change on a dime. But at this point, looks like all systems are go. Thanks for your time. Have a good day of trading. This has been Chris Buss with Trader's Profit Compass. Talk to you next time.